The More Movement Crew.
Welcome to the More Movement Crew podcast. I'm your host, Kenita Porter, and this is episode number 9. So today I'm so excited because we have a special guest that I cannot wait for you guys to hear from. But before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button below to subscribe to our channel so that you can get the updates on the latest videos and all the things that we have going on. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And welcome to the studio, special guest.
How you doing,
Special
Kenita?
guest, Rob Tinker. I'm so excited that you are here with us. I'm so excited
I'm excited to be here.
Came on our show.
Thank you.
And so I'm excited about all the conversation that we're going to have. I definitely enjoy our conversations. And so now, instead of just you and I having a conversation, the world gets to hear the conversations that we like to have, right? That's all it is. So before we get started, we're going to play a game. And the game is called 5 Questions.
Okay.
All right. So I'm just going to ask you some questions and you just answer them just as natural as you want, right?
Shoot.
All right, cool. So question number 1. What is the most interesting place that you have traveled to and why?
Well, Kenina, I haven't traveled maybe as much as some people. I've been to, and we recently talked about this with a buddy of mine. I've been to 23 states, most east of the Mississippi. So, I mean, it's quite natural that the most interesting place I've been to is New York. And I love New York. Oh, did somebody say that before me? I love New York.
No, nobody has.
No, I'm first. Okay. I just love the feel of the city. I love that there is so much to see and so much to do, and as many times as I've been there, I still need to see more. I love Harlem. I love Manhattan.
Yeah.
I love Brooklyn. I love the Bronx. I love New York.
So you have been to literally all the boroughs?
Yes. I haven't been to Staten Island.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've been to all of them.
Yeah.
So your favorite is what?
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Why Manhattan?
Well, Manhattan because it's going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but I'm the type of person who really is kind of withdrawn and likes to be to myself. I love the crowd. I love the sea of people. I love the fact that I can be in the midst of all those people and still feel like I'm by myself.
Yeah.
I love just moving in that sea, just being a part of the movement.
Being a part of it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Well, Manhattan is definitely like that. There is never a dull moment.
Never.
It never slows down. But you get, like I noticed when I went to Brooklyn, you get like it calms a little bit in certain areas of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Especially around like the Coney Island area.
Yes.
It becomes, like more residential in certain areas. And so Brooklyn to me was probably my favorite. I did like Harlem. I liked Harlem just around, I think, Lenox Avenue, where Malcolm X Boulevard, where Apollo Theater and stuff is. That area, that little area right there, I really enjoyed when I went to Harlem. But we didn't really explore.
Right.
But we went to Sylvia's.
I've been to Sylvia's. Yeah.
Which it was okay.
Yeah.
I think it was like too commercialized.
Right?
I think like that's like the place to go to.
Everybody has to go to Sylvia's when they go to Harlem. Yeah.
That's true. Like we just literally got off and then went straight to Sylvia's and then walked around a little bit and then came back because we tried to do a lot of things while we were there.
Right.
But yeah, New York is a great place.
Yeah,
it's a really cool place.
I love it.
So awesome, New York. And then the next place you're going to be reporting soon is probably going to be Africa.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going
I do have plans to go to Africa.
Awesome. Okay. Question number 2. What gets you out of bed every day?
That is an awesome question. Because I still have things to do. You know, I really do. I still have things to do. I have a lot of things I still want to do. And I'm 68, by the way, and I've retired once already, but I still have things to do. I have plans.
Yeah.
You know, and my life, like everybody's life should be, is based on plans and goals. And I set them every day, and I set them short term and long term. And every day I get up with one thought in mind. How am I going to accomplish the goals I have set for the day? And of course, the other thing is, how am I going to take over the world? But I try to stick with my small goals, and that's what gets me up.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are some things that are on your bucket list?
Bucket list of big things I want to do, or just daily things I want to do?
Big things.
Big things. First on my list is go to Africa. I'm going to retire a second time next September, and I will go to Africa shortly thereafter because it's really expensive if you go during the tourist season, and like December, January, February, during that time, it's the off season, so it slows down and it's a lot less expensive. So probably next winter, probably February, March, I'll start figuring out where I'm going to stay, because I'm not going to go all the way to Africa and stay 2 weeks. I'm going to stay there for a while. Figuring out where I'm going to stay, how much the cost is. I'm going to reserve my airplane tickets early, because I can travel for about $900 round trip if I do it early enough. So Africa is first on my bucket list. The second thing, I only do 2 of them, is I want to be like Colonel Sanders. I have a business idea.
Okay.
And when I retire, I probably will have time to put into that. And I can't tell you what it is, because I don't want any of you all to steal my idea.
Yeah,
so
you should keep
that's,
that.
Yeah, that's going to be kept
secret.
under my, yeah.
Okay. So those are 2 bucket list items?
Well, I have
so
more,
far.
but yeah.
He's like,
those
I got
are
a
the 2
list.
main ones. Right.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you have so many things that you're so looking forward to.
Oh, yeah, you got
great.
to.
That's great. All right, next question. What color represents you?
Well, I mean, that's pretty easy. The color, or actually, it's not even the color. What represents me is black. And the reason I say it's not even a color is because black is the absence of color. And so black represents me.
Why?
Well, simply because black gets a bad rep. There is nothing good associated with the color black. Nothing. Everything that's ever said about black is negative. And so, me being a fan of the Underdog, and it's the Underdog color,
which is
for
very
me.
true. Yes.
Yes. I took on black. Black just means a lot to me. Black the color, black the race, black the mood. I connect with black.
With it. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I like that. Next, and this one I'm excited to ask.
Okay.
Because I want to see what you come up with.
Okay.
So it's name 3 songs or artists that are in your playlist. And I know how hard this is going to be for you.
Yes, very difficult. Music is my life. But it's fairly simple, at least the first one. And it's an artist. And I happen to believe that I was born during the time that one of the biggest geniuses of music was alive and performing. And that is Prince. I'm a huge fan of Prince. Now, I'm a huge fan of Prince prior to Purple Rain. Not that Purple Rain and everything after that wasn't, it's still good. It's still Prince. It's still genius in a way. But his first 5 albums, at one time I thought 4, but I forgot one. His first 5 albums, which were For You, Prince, Dirty Mind, I knew I forget one. For You, Prince, Dirty Mind, Controversy, and 1999.
You got them all.
5, yeah.
You got them all.
Genius. If you're going to collect music that you're not familiar with, buy those 5 albums. If you only can take one or two, start with Dirty Mind, Controversy, and 1999. Those are really the height of his career.
If you have like Spotify, then you may be able to listen to multiple albums.
You know what? You can't on YouTube though, because he won't. He didn't, and his estate doesn't allow.
It might not be on Spotify then.
Might not. Might. I don't know.
Maybe just select songs.
Right.
Wow. Why do you love Prince so much?
Because I can remember the very first time on AM radio that his song "Soft and Wet" came on. It's like, what the. But it was so. I feel
like
good.
all Prince's music is like, what the?
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe he did
but
that.
But it was a sound that was so different. It's like, is this a man or a woman?
Like, I want to be a lover. Right. Like how high his voice is.
Yes. But it was so good. And then after I listened to his first album, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
What's going on here? It's just like.
Just so unique.
It's so unique.
Yeah.
And it just got more, with every album, it just got better and better. And that's why I say if you can only get 2 or 3, get the 3 right before Purple Rain, because he got better as he went along.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I watched a documentary on Prince, and it was really interesting. Just about his personality, how passionate he was about his music, how he grew up. It just was.
And he was so prolific.
Yeah.
He wrote thousands of songs. He's the only person, I guess, in the history of music. Most people, when they released singles, they released A side and a B side, and the B side was off the album. They would release the best songs, and then they would put the weaker songs on the back side of those songs. Where Prince, when he released a single, he would write a whole new song for the B side.
Wow.
He wouldn't take them off his album. And at one point, before Purple Rain, he released an album of B-sides because those weren't on any album.
Wow. So he had like a vault of music. But he had like a studio in his house, and he was like making so much music.
Yeah, and his very first album, he wrote and produced himself, played all the musical instruments, and did all the vocals, and he was 17.
Wow. So that's pretty genius. That's phenomenon.
Yes,
though.
it is.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, who else?
Okay, I'd have to go with a gospel singer, and that would be Tremaine Hawkins. She touches me. She touches me in a very deep way. She has a song called "What Shall I Do?" and that is my go-to song when I have hit that low point, which we all hit on I don't want to say on a regular basis, but we hit it from time to time. And when I'm down there, I always play that song, "What Shall I Do?" And so for that reason, and that's enough, I would put her on my list.
Okay. Gospel. That's cool. How about the third one?
The third one I can't do. I have a song that I really like.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily a favorite artist or even a best song. I just like the song. I'm very partial to "Human Nature" by Michael Jackson. It's been redone as much as any song by different people. Chris Brown, SWV. I mean, it's been done a lot.
Yeah.
And I like that song. I really like that. I think it's the best song Michael Jackson has put out. But if I was gonna do an album for Michael Jackson, it would be "Off the Wall."
Yeah,
I really love "Off the Wall."
Yeah.
I love that. It's really pop.
Yeah.
It's really good. But I wouldn't necessarily. The only reason I mention him is because
of the song.
So many names come to mind for that third spot that, you know.
Everybody's competing.
Right. So
I'm sure we could go all day because you and I have had extensive conversations about music artists.
Right.
And you're just like, you know those artists? Like I listen to some old school music. Like I know my music. And I love music documentaries or biographies. So I watch them, like just whoever, you know, if Jimi Hendrix, like whoever, because I'm interested in just the way that artists live. Like I think I watched Miles Davis the other day. John Coltrane was at the Speed Art Museum. I saw Aretha Franklin's. So it's like it's something about watching artists, like how they create music and like what that experience is like, what they get inspiration from. It's like fascinating to me.
A story for the audience. When Kanina and I first started working together, I always had music going at my desk. And it would be a mixture of newer stuff and old stuff. And I would be playing older stuff, and here she is singing. What do you know about this? But I come to find out she knew a lot about it. See? Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
A young old person.
Old in your soul.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta appreciate, if you're a lover of music, you gotta appreciate like the origins of where they come from.
Yes.
And just the history, especially in American music, like black artists are at the core of American music.
Right. Absolutely.
That we are the origin.
Yes, we are.
of music. And so much of the culture is wrapped around music. So I just love music. I love just all types of artists.
Me too. We share that.
We do. So it's pretty cool that we do share that. All right. The last question is, what is the best advice you were given?
My daddy. My father gave me all of my best advice, but the one thing that was kind of funny, but I found to be very true is, and he would tell me, Bobby, I'm going to tell you, keep your friends and your money separated. And that way you'll keep them both. No truer words ever spoken.
Yeah, that's good advice. There's so many friendships and relationships that fall out over money.
Yes.
And what's the saying? If you can't afford to let somebody borrow it, or what is this?
Don't lend it.
Don't lend it. Right. Don't lend it, because
chances are
you might not get it back. Right. You're not gonna get it back, and then it causes like animosity and all of that. So
yes.
I definitely, I remember in the office, I was known as Mrs. Tight hands, tight grip, because I wouldn't give out no money.
Yeah, she make a penny cry.
I'll make a penny cry, and then come spill your penny. Getting everybody to buy me lunch. Shoot. I did. Like, when they watch this video, they're going to agree that I used to do that.
Yeah, they're going to say, I remember.
Yeah. The students ask me for money, be like, I don't carry no money on me. I got no money. So I'm definitely thrifty. I feel like I've gotten better. I feel like I've grown in the last couple of years, because now I see it. When I do give out money, there is not the expectation of getting it back, but I see it as an investment. And I try and invest my money into important things or people who are doing things that I think are important. And I feel like you do that.
Yeah.
You've always been the type of person to just pull out something and give it to somebody who needs it.
Right.
So I think it's just a part of growth, realizing that like you don't have to hold on so tight to it.
Yeah, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. You just gotta have some restraint. Like you gotta know when to give out money, and when to say no and when to say yeah. I guess you could say like a balance.
That's it.
Because you will be broke if you keep if you keep
handing out
money. All right, so that was the game 5 questions, and now we get into the real topic of the show.
Okay.
And the real topic of the show is you, right?
Oh. Okay.
So let me give the audience a little context first before we get started. So me and Rob worked together for the last 4 or 5 years. It's been a while. But I always like to tell this story of the first day that I showed up at work when I worked with Rob. So Rob and I had met previously when I came into the office for a meeting. But on my first day at the job, I was sitting downstairs in the lobby on the bench, and I was a little nervous, and I was just kind of waiting for somebody to show me what my first day was going to look like. And so I hear him coming down the steps, and as he's running down the steps, I hear all the other students in the background in the classroom getting out of morning session. And then he comes downstairs and he's like, "Good morning, Kanina." And I'm like, "Good morning, Mr. Rob." And he's like, "Hey, can you teach public speaking?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "When do you need me to do it?" He's like, "In 5 minutes." 5 minutes. I need you to do it in 5 minutes. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Baptism by fire.
Right. So I just go upstairs and I get my little notebook out while he's doing the morning announcements and just jot down some notes. And then he just like introduced me and was like, "Here you go." And I was like, "Oh my goodness." But that helped me because I jumped in and I was in for the last 4 years. Right. So that was my first experience with Rob. Just like,
she did not skip a beat. She went straight to it.
Yeah.
I knew we have a winner.
She survived.
Winner, chicken dinner.
She survived. That was my initiation. And I passed it. So that's always a story that I always laugh at when my first day at Youth Build with Rob. But I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself formally to our audience and like what you do.
Okay. My name is Robert Tinker, and I like to tell the story of how I started. My first job was when I was 16 years old, and I was a day camp counselor. I came up with activities for little kids and lad sessions and that kind of stuff. Well, 52 years later, I'm a counselor. So not a lot has changed over that 52 years.
A lot, but a lot kind of really has.
A lot has, but and I kind of joke about that. But in between those years, I have had the pleasure of doing a lot of things, a lot of jobs that have to deal with working with young people mostly, from corrections at the youth center, at the Jefferson County Youth Center, to working for the state in a group home, to the county as director of a group home, to the social worker supervisor at Home of the Innocents, a therapist at 7 counties, a coordinator for the city with a youth organization called Neighborhood Youth Boards that had sites in 17 neighborhoods, and I kind of oversaw all 17 of those sites in conjunction with 17 neighborhood coordinators. That was probably my most challenging job, and the one that memories I cherish probably the most, along with then I left there and went to a couple of other jobs working with young people in community organizations. And then in April of 2002, I went to work for Youth Build Louisville, and I retired from there and went back as a Vista volunteer, and that's where I'm at right now.
Okay. So you summarized that before and said I was a counselor then, I'm a counselor now, and look at all of that huge gap in between. Like, you have like a rich history of working with youth.
I've been very lucky of the jobs I've been able to do.
Yeah. So let's take it back to just growing up. You're originally from Louisville, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how it was growing up in Louisville?
Yeah. I was born and raised in the Newburgh area, and back during that time, Newburgh was a tiny black spot in a sea of white. And so if you didn't stay right in your little neighborhood, you got out into areas that were white and were unsafe for you. And so I grew up thinking, that this is where I belong, in this little area. And we didn't get out and do a lot of exploring. And when we did, it was sort of like you were kind of put back in your place. So it, I loved my youth, but I love my youth more because of my parents and my family than I did because of my environment. And then as a 13 or 14-year-old, we moved into a house that is where I live today. I moved away after college and then came back after I retired. Well, before I retired, about 10 years ago, and I've been living there ever since. So same as with my job, there hasn't a lot of movement. I always come back to where I started. And so my childhood was good. I went to mostly black elementary and middle school. And then as a high schooler, I went to Seneca High School at the time when Seneca was the largest school in the state, and probably was had the most mixed culture of any school in the state, because Seneca's population also included Newburgh. Even before busing, Seneca had a significant black population. It was only maybe about 7 or 8%, but that's really large when you compare it to the other schools in the county at that time, because they had probably 0.5% black.
Wow.
So Seneca was a really good experience for me. I graduated from Western Kentucky.
Hilltoppers.
Hilltoppers.
Yes,
and went back to the University of Louisville and got a couple of master's degrees in counseling, community vocational counseling, and secondary education counseling. And then about 15 years after that, I went to Spalding to work on a doctor's degree in educational leadership. And I finished up all my coursework, but I never did the dissertation. And that's where I'm at today.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you'd ever want to go back and finish your dissertation?
Well, I hate telling sad stories. But in 2017, when I decided to come out of retirement after 8 months, the goal was to also go back and do my dissertation. So in order to make my return to working better and working on my dissertation better, I had surgery on my eyes because I had low vision, but it wasn't that low. Yeah. But anyway, as a result of that surgery, my retina was damaged, and now it's practically impossible because with that damaged retina, I can't read or write, and there's very little chance that I ever will be able to read or write again. I see no detail. I can't see people's features.
So what would be the topic of your dissertation, or what was
it was, thanks to Lauren Hill, the miseducation of the black male.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had done all my research, because the last class you take during your coursework is a class that outlines and really does a lot of your research for your dissertation. Yeah. And I don't know if I would have been able to call it the miseducation of the African American male, but that was my plan. Of course, miseducation isn't a word, but I really didn't care. Yeah. But that's what it was.
Wow. Maybe you can partner with someone and take your research and continue your research on, so that at least comes to pass. Maybe I'll just get my PhD so that we can work together on a dissertation.
That would be wonderful.
People have really been suggesting and recommending that I get my PhD.
Oh, I think you should.
You would be like the fourth person that told me that.
Yeah, I really do. You're bright and articulate, and it's not the degree It's not that you need the degree for anything other than other people. It allows you, it opens doors.
Yeah.
It opens so many doors because they stop looking at you and start looking at your title. And it's like your title will get you in.
Yeah, that's true. That is really true. And it's like if Kanina said this versus if Dr.
Porter said.
Well, hopefully it won't be Porter.
Right. Well, we
might hyphenate Porter Dash.
Right.
But I'm considering it. But I think the only thing is I don't want to accumulate any more debt.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any student loans.
Lord, I'm still paying those loans, and I never got my doctor's degree.
I know so many people have student loans, and I'm so blessed to not have them. That why would I enter a situation that puts me into a whole bunch of debt? So if I do get a PhD, it'll have to be God who says, "All right, I want you to get this PhD because
here's a fellowship."
Exactly. So if somebody's listening and they want to get a fellowship, like let's talk.
Somebody give this lady a fellowship. If you know anybody who can give fellowships, contact them today.
Right. So we can get started on the dissertation. So that's awesome. So I love hearing about just your journey. I love hearing about how you grew up. And it seems like when you were describing your childhood, it was more, you just had like a really good village.
Yes.
Around you.
We had no choice.
Yeah, you guys had a village. And so, like, in terms of, like, racism in that time, like, did you guys experience anything?
I didn't know about racism until maybe a few small incidents of stepping outside of my boundaries. But I really didn't know about it until possibly high school. Because Seneca was a great school, great school. The teachers were great. Seneca was built in 57, the same year that integration started. So it didn't have any history without black people. It had, and so it didn't have the problem that other schools had when they integrated. The students were always used to black kids being there. The teachers had been used to black kids from the very beginning. But in any situation, there are always those outliers. I don't know whether they're teachers who came in and didn't expect, or students who moved in. You do experience tension, and you realize that it has to do with race rather than other things. So, but it was never a really bad experiences. So
that's good because people have so many stories. About,
and my father, I had a very, very strong father, and he protected his family against that. Now, my father wasn't happy with Seneca initially when my older brother and sister went, so he took them out of Seneca and put them in Lincoln Institute. Now, Lincoln Institute at that time was a school, because before desegregation, Kentucky couldn't afford to put black high schools everywhere. I think Lexington had Dunbar, Louisville had Central, Paducah had Paducah Tillman. But the rest of the black students in the state had no high school to go to unless they moved to a city. So the state built Lincoln Institute. It was an on-campus, you lived there, high school for young black people who didn't have a black high school in their area. And so my father pulled, my older sister graduated from Central, top 10 in her class.
Wow.
My second brother went to, he pulled my second brother, my second sister, and my third brother and put all of them in Lincoln Institute. So I was the first one to go to Seneca. They all graduated from Lincoln Institute.
And where was Lincoln Institute?
Lincoln Institute is where the Job Corps in Simpsonville is
Whitney
now.
Young.
Originally, it was a high school,
Wow.
Lincoln Institute. And if you look on Whitney Young's campus, there's a tower that's identical to the tower at Kentucky State.
So is the Lincoln Foundation connected with Lincoln
All
Institute?
of that's connected.
All of it's connected. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you feel about not going to Lincoln Institute?
I didn't care.
You didn't care. You didn't care.
I wasn't old enough to understand. I was 14 and
right. You were like, whatever.
Right.
So based on your experience, education was really important in your household.
Oh my. Oh my.
Yeah.
Yes. At that time, it was graduating from high school. You know, that was my parents' big deal, that all of their children would graduate from high school. Because, you know, I'm talking about a fairly long time ago. But it quickly turned to all of our children will go to college. And so this is like, you know, my older sister graduated in the late 50s. So we're not talking about, you know, recently.
Right.
And so, yeah, she eventually got her master's. All of us went to college. Some of us got degrees. I think 5 out of the 8 got degrees.
Wow.
But everybody went to college.
Wow, that's beautiful. So based on your childhood and growing up and how your family saw education, how do you perceive the families now in terms of like going to college?
Are you talking about African American families, or are you talking about families in general?
I would say, let's talk about African American families.
I think the African American family has deteriorated to the point that I don't know what's important to the majority. Now, that doesn't mean all, because there is still a real strong segment of African Americans who lift up education and who feel that all things education are important. But there is also a different segment that may be larger and even stronger in what they believe I don't know if they believe in much of anything. You know, and I attribute that to so many young people having kids and their kids having kids and their kids, and you know, education's not important. I can remember hearing young people when I was working for a place that I left out, which was Kentucky College Access Center, where I was a education talent search person. And I would hear kids say, oh, I don't want to go to that school because it's not live. Don't nothing happen there. I want to go to
the parties,
Iroquois, or so, you know, where it's live. You know, they weren't talking about parties. They were about going to school. They weren't interested in education. They were interested in going there and having fights and smoking and, you know, just wanted to be live. You can't learn in a live environment. Learning wasn't important.
Live.
Right.
So I think that is what, I guess that's what I kind of answered the question, because just the idea that education is important and is valued, because now, you know, we live in a society where people think that they can just get knowledge anywhere. They can get knowledge on Google.
Right.
You know, Google, they don't have to go
the streets.
Right. I haven't been to the library in the last 10 years. Why do you go to the library for?
Right.
So it's just like they just don't value. Like, how do you even use the catalog? Like, I don't even know how to look up how to find a book. So we definitely don't. They definitely don't value education, and I think that. I mean, I think so much is a factor in that. But like you said, I think the core of it is just family as a whole, like really pushing and valuing education in the home. And then not only valuing education in the home, but having people there to support the student to make sure they get over the finish line. And so much of the work that you've done in the past and the work that I've done in the past and I'm currently doing now is that what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
That's it.
Is that we're making sure that the student gets across the finish line and filling in those gaps. So can you talk a little bit about, because you wanted to originally go into education, right? You wanted to teach.
My degree, yes, it was in, I was certified in middle school and high school. And I originally got out of school. I subbed for 2 years. And the second year, I went into night middle school and replaced the teacher who was out on pregnancy leave. And I taught from January to the end of it. She didn't come back after Christmas break. And I taught from January to the end of the year, and they hired me to start that next fall. Well, I mean, I've already told my age, so this was the next fall was the year that busing started in Jefferson County, and so Knight Middle School is on the Bullitt County line, and I'm not making any statements about the people who live in that area, but almost more than half of their student body, the parents kept them out of school because of busing. Most of them moved over into Bullitt County or used people they knew in Bullitt County's addresses so for their children to have to be involved with black students at Knight Middle School.
Wow.
So since they lost over half of their population, they lost some teachers and didn't hire the teachers they had planned to hire. So I didn't get in. I missed my opportunity, and that opportunity never came around again. And so I went in a different direction, and it resulted in the work history that I shared earlier.
And it feels like, though, despite the fact that you didn't get to teach, like you still have a long history of working with young people up until like today. Right, up until the last 30 minutes ago. Right, up until forever. So it's like you still are really connected to young people. And so I know that earlier you talked about your fight for the underdog.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When working with you, that was always the case. You would always advocate for the person that everybody thought would not make it.
Right.
Why is that? Why do you feel like you advocate for the underdog?
Because the top dog doesn't need it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. You know, people who have advantage don't need my help.
Yeah.
They have all the help in the world. So why would I spend my energy and time adding more advantage to the advantaged? So I've always adopted people who I feel need me, or need someone, anyone, you know?
Yeah.
And those are the people who I really kind of gravitate toward, and they gravitate toward me. So, yeah.
And I think you also had a lot of influence on the African American males that we worked with.
Yeah, by intention.
Yeah.
Because they are underdogs. African American males are underdogs in this society. They are at the very bottom of the pecking order. They are, you know? So, yeah. I mean, I had help in pulling myself up. I had a very strong family. Even if nobody else was going to help me, my family was going to push me. I had 4 older brothers and sisters and a mom and dad who did nothing but pull their kids, pull them. Make sure they didn't drop through holes. Make sure they didn't slip into cracks. So in a way, I was advantaged simply through them. Not economically, really, in a way, not even educationally, because I wasn't the brightest bulb in the box, but my parents always told me it doesn't matter, you keep pushing forward. So most young people, and especially most of our African American males, don't have that. So somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so you think in this particular situation, helping African American males, what are some things that you would like to see take place in order for that to happen? What are some ideas? What are some programs? What are things that you think need to be done? Or do you think system-wide changes need to take place first?
Well, yeah, system-wide changes need to take place first, but I'm not waiting on that. I don't think many of you are either. So, you know, I think programs and even schools, and we're seeing that happen now, that work directly and specifically with African American males need to be developed and more African American males need a chance to be able to attend those programs in schools.
Yeah.
I think the public school system in many ways have failed African American males. They've failed African American children in general, but specifically the African American male. And so maybe we need people who are specifically trained to work with them, or who specifically want to invest their time and effort into them. I don't think that in general the public school system gives a care about African Americans or African American males, and then they're saying, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We're just going to, teach to the general public, and if you don't get it, then that's your problem.
Yeah.
And I think that African American males need not just, I think they should have it. They need more. They need more. They need people who care about them, who know their issues, who know the concerns, who are willing to work with them, who know the hurdles that they have to cross and know how to help them over.
Yeah.
And the best thing would be for more African American. I'm tongue tied. I'm sorry. More African American males to go into teaching.
Yeah.
Specifically with the thought of helping the younger generation.
Yeah, Reggie was on the show, the previous episode, and even talking about more African American males going into the field of counseling.
Yes.
He's a mental health counselor, but also like regular counselors for schools, just so that they see African American men visibly in schools.
Yeah.
So I think that that's very, very important. I think also, we're seeing now just a lot of programming to reach African American kids, and I feel like that is like the symptom or the byproduct of the school system in the household. It's kind of filtering down, because to be honest, if we look at it, if the school system was as effective as it should be, then we wouldn't have had youth build, right? We wouldn't even have had a need to even work there.
Right.
So I think that's definitely part of the problem.
Yes.
So I definitely agree with you that it is system work, which is why I decided to do the job I'm in now. And that's working within the school district to figure out how we can start having those.
They are lucky to have you.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to doing the work and really just taking, I've had the opportunity to work under you. I've had the opportunity to learn from you. So many things, like things you probably don't even imagine that I have learned.
Things that you shouldn't have learned.
Right.
This is what you deal with that bad kid.
Exactly. Right. And remember my little nickname you gave me when I used to come in the room? I was the bad little black girl from next door. Bad little black girl from next door. Learned all the skills. By like my 4th year, I was ready. So, I just learned so much. I think I just learned, even street smart stuff, like learning how to really identify with the young person that I'm working with and not just say, you just need to get it together.
Right.
Or you just go on. Like, go home. You're getting on my nerves. Just go home. So I think that I definitely learned a lot of that from you, and really appreciate you laughing, because it happened so many times. But thank you for sharing your journey.
Well, thank you.
And so the last question that we always ask every person that comes on our show is, when did you know that there was more? So when did you have that moment in your life where you said, okay, I got to do something different?
I realized that when I thought it was over. When I retired, it's like I literally retired for only 8 months, because at some point it hit me. This can't be it.
Yeah.
There has to be more. And the more I thought about it, the more I knew there's more than this. This this is not the end of
Right.
life.
Right. You don't
It
just.
could be the beginning.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
That's amazing to think about
it
that.
might be the beginning, you know? And so now what I've realized is every morning when I open my eyes, that's the moment I realize I think there's more.
Yeah. There's still more to be told. Another chapter,
Yes,
right?
Another chapter to
Yeah,
write.
because people, it's funny because now we work to get to retirement, but we never think about when we retire, sitting on the couch. Is that going to be what you want to do? You know, like sitting there forever.
Right.
You know, and so it makes so much sense that there is definitely more.
There is definitely more.
And so I'm excited about you knocking off all those things off your bucket list.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I pray that happens. I can't wait to hear about your trip from Africa. And I just hope that everything that you have wanted to come true comes true.
Thank you, Kanina.
So thank you for being on my show. I appreciate you coming on here. Maybe we'll get you back on again.
Okay.
For the next season. I definitely want you to come back and check us out. I'd love to do maybe like a men's roundtable discussion, right? So you can school all the young folks, young guys.
You got to realize you're learning every day. They may school me.
They may. I don't know, but you always got something up.
I'm gonna be in there,
right? You're gonna pull something out on them.
Right.
So thank you for watching this episode. Thank you for checking us out. I hope that you enjoyed Rob's story, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can get updates on everything that we do. And thanks again for watching. Be blessed.